What is up, guys, and welcome back to our Boston Bruins franchise mode series. In the last video, we simmed probably about the first half of the season. 46 games out of 82 is what the game's telling me. We're 27, 16, and 3, 9 points back from the division leader, but only about 6 points up from missing the playoffs. The Habs there, fourth in our division, not currently in a wild card spot, so we need to stay above them for the rest of the season, as well as the Panthers at 50 and the Lightning at 47. And so, in the last video, and in the first half of the season, we got quite a few trade offers, and a lot of them included us sending away first-round picks for any of the guys like Joe Pavelski from the Sharks or David Backes from whatever team we traded him to. I think it's the Wild. So the trade offers were things like that, and I'm not super keen on taking those trades right now, especially because the trades are either for a guy that doesn't really fit a need that we have, or if it's a guy that does fit the need that we have, his contract is really, really bad, and it's something that we don't want to take on. So I decided to hold off on that. However, if our lines are failing and if something's just not going right, I potentially could trade for Joe Pavelski because he only has 1 year left on his deal, so his cap hit doesn't really matter as long as it'll fit within the salary cap. As I'm simming ahead now until a couple of days before the deadline just to see how we do. So Pavelski is a guy that we could trade for. He's an 86 overall. His role is a second line forward, but what we could do is we could throw him on the third line right wing. But of course, if we're making this trade, it's because our lines aren't working and we need to shake things up a little bit. So the lines would probably look different if I was making this trade in the first place, but Pavelski, Pastrnak, and Hosang could be our top three right wingers, and we could throw Bjorkstrand down to the fourth line. And then who knows what else we would do, but that's why I would see Pavelski fitting in on this team. And as it stands, it would probably take a first rounder to get him. And I'm not sure, 5-game losing streak. I'm not sure how keen I am in trading a first-round pick for a rental. But if I'm not mistaken, we do have 2 first-round picks. We have ours and the pick from the Devils. So if we're in a dominating playoff position and we could trade our pick for Pavelski, that might be something that could work. But we'll just have to see how our lines are performing here after these next 3 games as we get shut out in back-to-back road games against Metro Division opponents. And then now we're facing a couple of Atlantic Division opponents, still both games on the road. And the scouting assignment completely interrupted that. We'll go to the good old US of A, whatever. And we get a win against the Lightning and then a loss against the Sabres. So a pretty even 500 month, it appeared. It's still 10 points back from Buffalo, but we're only 4 points ahead of a wild card spot right now. It looks like we have a couple of games in hand on the Leafs, though. But looks like this season is setting up for another first-round matchup between us and the Montreal Canadiens. I want to avoid that at pretty much all costs. I'm not interested in losing to them again. So you have 2 games in hand on the Leafs, and we have 4 points up, or 4 points up on them. 2.7 goals for, I always want to say GAA there. 2.7 goals for, 2.62 goals against. The Leafs still a pretty good goal differential, so they still could potentially come back. Still waiting to see that happen. 19.5 power play, not bad. 72% penalty kill is utterly atrocious. But it's been improving throughout the course of the season, so I can't really argue with that too much. And I have the best defensive players out there, so I don't really know what else I could do differently to switch things up and make a change. But so we're just going to go with it as it stands. So here's a look at our player stats. The first line of Marchand, Pastrnak, and Bergeron, all 40-plus point guys. Marchand pushing nearly 50. The second line, I believe as it stands, looks something like Nicolishin. I'm going to call him Nicky from now on because that's easier than saying Nicolishin. So Nicky with 31 points, but he played quite a bit on the third line to start the season. He's up to an 87 overall. Jesus. So that trade is looking pretty damn good right now. He is currently our second line left winger. And then he is centered by Turris. And on the right wing, is Hosang. And that line is doing pretty well, with Turris and Hosang being 40-plus point guys. Then looking at our third line as it stands now is Fiala with 31, centered by Winberg with 43, and then the right wing of Bjorkstrand only 19 points. So Bjorkstrand's kind of a disappointment so far this season. And if you look at his and Fiala's minus numbers, they are the worst on the team. So there's some potential for improvement there. Based on Bjorkstrand's stats, he wouldn't be terrible on the fourth line. Decent defense, pretty damn good skater. Could probably score a couple goals with them on the fourth line. Probably like, I don't know. I don't know who I'd send down or scratch or whatever, but I might send somebody back in the trade if I need to. Maybe Kyle Connor, send him out because he's not been progressing for us at all. And yeah, it's looking like his time with the team is fading quickly. As I press B without looking at Tuukka Rask's stats, that's fantastic. Wasting a little bit of time here, going back into the menus and trying to get to the freaking stats. There we go, goalies. 239 GAA for Rask. I think that's better than it was in the last video. And so is his 92% save percentage. So Rask is improving as the season goes on. He's performing better. And I think I want to explore the trade for Joe Pavelski. Because Bjorkstrand doesn't look like he's working out there on the third line right wing. And we're only a couple of points away from being out of the playoffs entirely. So I want to do whatever I can to try to solidify us and make the playoffs. So let's see. They do still have Pavelski. That's good. Good to see he was not traded away before I had a chance to go get him again. And he did jump up to an 87. He was an 86 before this video when I was looking at his stats and stuff. He was an 86. So the morale for him there. Probably going to jump back down or fall back down to an 86 when we trade for him. Just because he'll have anxiety with his new team or whatever horse shit. But looking at his stats, fucking fantastic offensively. High 80s, low 90s there. And he's shooting the same situation, 4.5 stars. And his defense isn't bad either. Defensive awareness is an 88, so maybe he can help our penalty kill. Who knows? But the bad thing about him is he only has the 4-star skating. But this season, for the Sharks, he's put up 42 points in 61 games. So that would slot into our top few guys forward-wise. -9, but that's probably due to him being a part of a not-so-great team in the Sharks. I believe they're under 500. Yeah, we'll give you under 500. So that's probably contributing to his minus number there. An odd thing to see about Nicky is his trade value. If you look at a guy like Marchand, who's 88 overall, only 1 point higher than Nicky, but he's already 31. 12 years older, no potential left, only has like 2 or 3 years before he starts regressing, and he has that much more trade value than a 19-year-old who's already 87, medium elite. I don't know. It's just the game does weird stuff like that sometimes, and you have to be mindful of your player's situation, his overall and age and his potential when you're trying to make these trades. So if we were looking at this list right now, we wanted to capitalize on somebody, it'd probably be Bergeron, being a 90 overall, but age 34. He's probably going to regress next season, or this offseason, and that trade value is going to go down. But so we want to capitalize it now. Capitalize on it now. Fuck, is what we would want to do if we weren't going for a little bit more realism. So obviously the Bruins would never trade Bergeron. I say that, and then they like trade him this offseason or something. That'd be fucking heresy. Don't do that, Don Sweeney. So yeah, that's that. Looking at guys we can potentially trade away to try to get Pavelski back. Probably like Kyle Connor. There's no one else really that I'd want to trade. Looking at JFK's stats, still got a couple years he could grow. Pretty mediocre across the board. If he sees a little bit more of a jump this offseason, he might be on our NHL squad next season. But yeah, we have a bunch of these low prospects right here in this range that we could easily get rid of if we needed to. Let's just see if we can, what a second round draft pick does in terms of trying to get Pavelski. So it's about halfway, I guess, something like that. So we'll see if we can throw in. It's unfortunate the Sharks don't want prospects, which doesn't make any sense. They want either unsigned guys or NHL guys, and we're not trading them DJ Jerome. Fuck that noise. Let's see if we can just throw in Kyle Connor into this deal and see if we can get it done with that. Probably not, but it's worth a shot anyways. So Connor in a second for 1 year of Pavelski, and that goes through. Holy shit. That is not what I expected. So there's our big move of the season, boys. Trading a fourth line guy who looked like he wasn't growing anymore this season, as well as a second round pick that we got from the Devils for Pavel Zacha for Joe Pavelski. At least 1 year of Joe Pavelski. There's a chance that he could stick around, but we're not counting on that at this point. So he's a rental, but he's a pretty damn good rental, and we needed to shake some things up a little bit in our offensive lines. And what I'm going to do here is I can move DeBrusque back to his left wing spot, and then I can move Bjorkstrand down to the fourth line. And he might get a little upset with his ice time the rest of the season, but there's not really anything I can do about it. I don't know if he's in any special teams. And we do have DeBrusque here in our second line power play, so with his third line tag, he's getting enough ice time so far. And I forgot who I was looking for. I was looking for Bjorkstrand, that's right. Bjorkstrand. Did I pass him already? Was he on the regular power play? He was not. So, I don't know where Bjorkstrand is. He might be playing just in the offensive line, so. That extra attacker should not be Vlasic. It should not be Vlasic. It should be Nikolish. Nicky. Why do I keep calling him Nikolish? I'm calling him Nicky from now on, boys. So let's go back to our forward lines and slot in Joe Pavelski here in our third line right wing. So that's probably the best third line in the league with Fiala, Winberg, and Pavelski, all 40-plus point guys through 60 games. Pretty damn good. 50-plus point paces for them. And if you can get 50 points from all of your third line guys, that's just insane. So we want to throw him in the penalty kill, just to try to shake things up a little bit. And Fiala, is he getting power play time? He is, so it's fine if we take him off the penalty kill. It is fine if we take him off the penalty kill. So we're going to put Pavelski in there, changing current line. Yes. So Pavelski with that high 80, as I absolutely stutter over that word, the high 80 defensive category. And he can also actually, he's pretty much a center with an 85 face-off category. Holy shit, I didn't even notice that when I traded for him. So he can pretty much play center. Let's go look at the lines again. Is he better at face-offs than Winberg? And he is. But Winberg being left-handed, I don't really want to throw him on the right side unless we have to. And the difference between 81 and 85 face-offs probably isn't a whole lot. So we'll keep everyone in their correct position with their correct handedness there instead of making the change for a little bit of face-off help. So once again, I have no idea if that really has a major impact on the simulation, but we're doing it. And what I mean is if players playing out of position or on the off wing from their handedness, I don't know if that has a major effect. And at the same time, I don't know if face-offs has a major effect on your goal scoring or your goal differential as a whole. I need some water. My throat feels like the goddamn Sahara Desert right now. Excuse me for that. Did we win that game? I was too busy looking at my water bottle to see if we won the first game after the trades. We did not. 3-1 loss against the Preds, but we rebounded with a 6-3 victory against the Rangers. So that was our big trade of the season right there, at least of the regular season simulation. We obviously made a few deals in the offseason. And it's unfortunate we've had to turn this team over so much, but I'm just not seeing the results that I want to see. We want to be competing. We want to be winning now. And it's been 4 years of mediocre performances and neither competing or losing enough games that we get a super high draft pick. The only year we had a high draft pick was that first season where we got Liljegren, and he still hasn't cracked the NHL squad for us, so it didn't matter. In that first season, we could have had the 30th pick, and we would still be seeing the same results as of now. But after the trade, still looking like we're about 500. 4 wins and 4 losses. And I just don't know what to do, man. I do not know what to do with this team. Like, part of me wants to say, you know what, fuck it, and then just tear it down. But part of me is like, it just feels like we're really close. It just feels like we're, all it would take is for one of our lines to start clicking more and start scoring more, and we could just be blowing teams out. I feel like, at least statistically, or attribute-wise, we probably have the best forward core in the league right now. But that's not carrying over into the games. And maybe it's that we need a little bit of defensive depth. So once again, 500 since we made the trades. Still plus 11 in the win column. And we are 12 points back from the division title. 1 point back from the Habs. And we have the same number of points as the Leafs. And they are in a wild card spot. So we're right there on the bubble right now. And that's not what I want to see. Not in the slightest. So let's see where the other wild card spot is. And so the Metro has the Canes, the Caps, the Flyers, and then the Islanders in the first wild card spot. And then competitors for the second wild card spot, the Leafs with the 84, us with the 84, the Devils with the 82, and then the Pens with 79. So it's a really tight race, and it's going to come down to the wire. We might even miss the playoffs this year, and that would be absolutely decimating. So a 267 goals for is really shitty. Like, I want that to be a lot higher, especially with the forward core I've put together. They seem to be pretty damn good offensively across the board, even our fourth line. But that's not translating to the simulation for some reason. Goals against 264 is not too bad. I'd like for it to be better, but it's serviceable. 18 penalty kill, or 18 power play, 75 penalty kill. So the penalty kill is still climbing. It'd be nice if it was a lot higher than it is, but at the same time, in the time shorthanded column, we are the lowest. So we're taking the fewest penalties in the league. So our power play is not killing us, or fucking hell, our penalty kill is not really killing us as of right now. So let's sim ahead a couple of games. A couple of non-divisional games. It'd be nice to grab a few points heading into this final stretch of the season where we're playing a lot of divisional games and we get the super important games. So good start there. 2 road wins. Can we get the win at Dallas? No, we cannot. So 7-4 loss there. But still 2 out of 3. If we can go 2 out of 3 the rest of the way, we should be golden. So play Ottawa. Home and home with Ottawa. And if I could pick a team to have this with right now, it'd probably be Ottawa. They're under 500. And then we have the 500 Florida Panthers, and then we got 3 Metro games. We play the Caps, which are better than us in record, the Pens, who are a little bit worse, and then the Red Wings, who are probably near the bottom of the league. So 4 games against 500 or under 500 teams, 1 game against a team that's barely over, and then 1 game against a team that is solidly in the playoffs. So we need to capitalize here at the end of the season. And we get a 3-1 victory at Ottawa. Second game of the home and home. Alright, that's taking forever. A 6-1 loss. So we play really well in the first game on the road against a divisional opponent, and then we fucking blow it at home. Lose 6-1. So if these standings hold right here, we will avoid the Habs at least until the second round of the playoffs. Maybe even the conference final if we are kicked over to the Metro. How does the playoff picture stand right now? We are in the second wildcard spot with 90 points. We have a game in hand and 2 points over the Devils. So that's looking a little bit better. To clinch, we would need 6 points from here on out, I believe. In 4 games. That is not too unattainable. I'm not going to go in and look at every single stat again. It was just a few games ago. I just wanted to check this. And what it would take for us to play the Canadiens is the Leafs falling down below us in the standings. And that's possible if we win this first game. They do have a tiebreaker on us, though, so they would need to actually be below us in points. But, and it would be nice to play the Habs, at least in comparison to if we'd be playing either the Sabres, whoever wins out of the Metro. Those teams are probably better because they're obviously higher higher up in terms of points in the standings. So, all right, last 4-game stretch. We need 6 points to clinch. So yeah, first game at Florida. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? A 7-1 loss. Last 3 games, or 3 of our last 4 games, we've given up. What's that? 30 goals? No, 20 goals. 20 goals in 3 games. Whatever, man. I'm done. I'm just done. I'm just done. I'm just gonna send me the last couple games. I don't really give a shit. I'm just dejected. I am just dejected right now. I don't know what to think about this team. Like I don't know how to win. Like how do you build a winning team? Because apparently I don't know how to do it. And, our team looks good. Looks like we should be competing and winning games. We won 2 of the last 4. That might do the job. Let's find out. Yeah, we qualified for the playoffs. All right, qualified for the playoffs. As dejected as I seem right now, that could easily turn around with a playoff series win or 2. We get the Hurricanes round 1, so we ended up in the wild card spot, and we got kicked out to the Metro to play the Carolina Hurricanes. The Habs are playing the Leafs. All right, made the playoffs. So as dejected as I seem right now, that could easily turn around if we catch a little bit of fire in the playoffs and win a round or 2. It'd be nice to be playing the Habs for a potential trip to the Stanley Cup Final. But we don't want to fixate on them too much, as we have to win 2 series to even possibly get to that situation. So now I'm going to take a look at the scoring and the player stats for the season. Brad Marchand was our best player with 73 points, followed by Hosang with 60. And then we had 5 guys with 50-plus points, and those were Pastrnak, Bergeron, Turris, Wenberg, and Pavelski. Although Pavelski played about 60 games for the Sharks, so since we acquired him, he only scored like 8 points the last 20 games this season. So that's probably not the best pickup, but maybe that can translate to the playoffs. And then Fiala, well, our third line really fell in minuses. Since I last looked, Wenberg went down by 9, and so did Fiala. So I might need to make more forward line changes heading into this playoff matchup. So if you guys have any suggestions for that and what you want our lines to look like for this first round matchup, or at least for the start of the matchup, let me know, and I will take a look at that, and I will tinker with that before we start the simulation. So that's what our team looks like. Nicky down here with 42, not bad. We look for him to have a much better season next year, as he will be probably pushing an 88, 89 overall. And I might even throw him on the first line over Marchand, but he'll have that full season with being a high 80 guy instead of starting out as 80 overall and developing over the course of the season. Wow, he's Belarusian and not Russian. Maybe it's pronounced Belarusian. Whatever, he's not from Russia. I thought he'd be from Russia, but he's not, so that's interesting. And then Rask, before I move on. Go to Rask. He ended up with a 258 GAA, not really that good. 915 save, not that great either. It could be worse, could be better. I mean, for how much we're paying him and his overall, you'd think he'd have better stats than that, so I don't really know what's going on there within the simulation. Maybe it's our defense, maybe it's just the wacky simulation engine. I don't fucking know. I do not fucking know. So, looking around the league, as I always seem to press the start button instead of the left trigger. But Heinz led the way in the AHL with 52. Sebastian Olsen 51. Achari, JFK, Zarnik, Heinen. And Liljegren down here with 28 points. Up to a 79 overall. So hopefully we see a little bit of growth from him in the offseason. We would like to see him on the NHL squad as soon as possible. Nothing else too interesting here. I can't remember if we have any good goaltending prospects. I think we do. Yeah, Werner and Vladar. Vladar had he started more games, but he was the worst performer of the two by far. As Werner played 9 less games, but he had 7 more wins. 0.3 less GAA, and then a save of about 0.017 better. All right, we will. Shit. Jesus. Heading into looking at stats around the league. That is right. NHL. Head from Boston over to entire league. All right. And Kane led the way with 93 points, with Sagan and Ben at 92. So that first line of the Stars is absolutely insane. Tavares 90, Ekman Larson. Oliver Ekman Larson with 86 points on the shitty Arizona Coyotes. 30-goal season for him. That's pretty fucking good. Stamkos, Ovechkin, and Crosby round out the guys who reached a point-a-game status. Looking at the goal-scoring leaders, Ovechkin with 53 got one more than Patrick Kane. So Patrick Kane will probably win the Art Ross, the Hart, the Lindsay, and then Ovechkin will win the Rocket Richard. Other guys to note here, Stamkos, Tarasenko, Ben, and Hornqvist with 40 plus. We don't have anybody anywhere close to this list. I think the main reason for that is just how deep our forward lines are. So we're getting scoring from not just our first line, but also our second and third line, and to a lesser extent our fourth line. So we're not having to rely on that first line as much, so we're getting scoring from everywhere. And Ekman Larson will without a doubt win the Norris Trophy. So let's look at Calder. Nicky is fourth in points among rookies. He had the most goals though, and he had the best plus minus. So if this was real life trophy or real life like awards, he would get he would be considered much more than he would in the game. I'm pretty sure the game just picks the guy with the highest points. But also DeBrusk here ended up in 6th in points with 37 points on the season. Any rookie goaltending that is notable? This takes forever to load. Soderstrom played 68 games with a 2.31 GAA. Better than Rask apparently as an 86. Yeah, makes sense. So was Gillies. He was a lot better than Rask. Holy shit. Okay, yep. Aiden Hill for the Coyotes as an 82 overall. A 2.17 GAA. And a 928 save percentage. That makes sense. Makes sense that guy is so much better than Rask. Whatever, man. Whatever. I'm not going to fuss about that anymore. Looking to see who should win the Vezina. Sort by GAA. Go the other way. Frederick Anderson might win it with a 218 and a 927. But if the game says that Aiden Hill played enough games, then an 82 overall with AHL starter potential will win the Vezina, and I will fucking, I don't know, I might just end the series if that happens. Might just call it a day on this series. So that's it for this video, boys. As always, if you enjoyed, like and subscribe if you have not already, and comment on this video. We like to interact with our fans. Subscribe and check out some of our other series. I have a couple of franchise mode series running. We have a EASHL series where we play a little bit of twos hockey there. And then we also have started some Road to the Show on MLB The Show. And so yeah, check out those videos. And tune in next time to see how we do in the first round of the playoffs against the Carolina Hurricanes.